gosh, that's like kind of what sucks though about it is like people are really curious about BDSM and they want to know and they want to learn. And then like TikTok is filtering BDSM. Porn is showing this thing that it's actually not. There's no actual good media or sources for people to learn how powerful and profound BDSM is and can be, and how to do it in a way that's not just safe, but like I said, maximizing pleasure and minimizing disappointment and mismatched expectations. And there's a structure that you can learn fairly easily. Once you practice it a few times, it becomes easeful and effortless. And from there, you can just have this massive expansion in your intimacy world. And it's so hard to get to really truly understand and get that. And it's really a frustration of mine because it's so taboo and so hushed. The whole BDSM scene, everything is hushed. So that's a
Yeah.
frustration of mine.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Yes, like not only BDSM, sexuality in general. And the good news are that I managed to sneak it into TikTok. So I shared about our interview. So we might have people listening right now, and I will share interview later. And and question came from a TikTok that um, like if someone wants to really explore and their partner is resistant, like partner is like, ooh, like I don't want to do that. Do you have any recommendations for such situation?
Yes, I say always whoever has the more intense boundaries to like just go at their pace. I would open up curiosities around like what feels like a no for you about this? Is it this? Is it that? Just the whole thing overall. I would just see if there's any like openness to even discuss what why it's a hard boundary and a hard no. I would never push beyond someone's boundaries. However, I do think it's nice to just open up curiously around why someone might be that way. And if it is a really hard limit, hard boundary, hard no, then that sounds like mismatched desires. And that sounds like maybe an open to discuss outsourcing that to from someone else. Because for me, I know I do need connection in BDSM, not all the time, not every time I'm fucking, like that's for sure. I don't need that. But I do need someone that's open to it. And if they're not, like that's a need I'm going to need to get met. It doesn't have to be in a sexual way. It can be at a play party with my other kinky friends. But I do need to know that there's openness and willingness from partners of mine to allow me to play because it's such a big part of my life because it's play. It's pleasure. It's like, when else can we be little kids and just mess around with like knives and wax and all these fun things? It helps me, brings me in my body. It helps me to get rid of my week. So yeah.
Every time you're bringing that knife, like it brings strokes something in me. So I should definitely explore the knives.
Oh my gosh. I want to show you something even better. Okay, I'm gonna be back in 2 seconds. It's gonna be
Okay. Okay, something better is coming. I'm so curious. What is that? Because knife already sounds very, very intense and interesting. Oh my god, I love you have that at home.
yeah, I have these massive swords, and the reason I got them is because when I was in New York City about a year ago, and I went for some work stuff and was connecting with some amazing people there. Sorry, my vibrator is on in case you can hear it. Like accidentally stepped on it. Um, I did that was the first time I'd ever bottomed for a knife play scene, and I didn't know I liked knife play at all. I had never been into knife play before that. And this guy spanked me with swords, and it was such a cool and fun story to just be like, you see that, Bruce? That's from being spanked with swords. And I just like since then I've been in the market to get some swords. I was at the swap meet and I found these amazing swords, so I'm adding them to my collection for knife play.
Ooh, yeah. As well, I'm noticing you're making a very good point that BDSM is not necessarily sexual.
Exactly.
It can be non-sexual, right? Like you can have your dear friend just go play, right?
Yep. I
But
would
you will
say,
not even touch genitals. Like genitals will not even participate.
yeah, exactly. You don't have to. Like, you can be as clothed as you want. You can have a BDSM scene out in public totally clothed. Like, it doesn't have to be sexual at all. It's childhood joyous fun, adult sexual privileges, and cool toys. So it doesn't have to be at all. And I think that's another thing too, when people are so shut down to talking about BDSM, most people are already kinky they just don't know that they are, because everybody likes to play. And so BDSM is just like creating a really beautiful collaborative consent container around that. So people are able to communicate where their boundaries are and what things feel really juicy for them, what kind of mood they're interested in, so that you can just maximize pleasure and minimize disappointment. So
Yeah, yes.
yeah.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. I saw on your website shadow work. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering what is shadow work? It's just like, ooh, like what is that?
Yeah, shadow work. It's something I really love to do on myself and with clients. It's basically a process that helps you to look into the unconscious mind. And I think the term was first coined by Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. So a lot of my work is based around him, and his work around peering into the unconscious mind and into the parts of us. So the shadow is the part of us that gets split apart from our personality, and usually it's from a place of being shamed. So if, for example, growing up your parent was very like uh, controlling about being clean, then you might have a shadow of messiness where you judge yourself if you're messy and you judge other people if they're messy. And so shadow work, when I do it, is I always look for the parts of myself that are split up and disconnected from me, which just means that I'm like, if there's a lot of parts of you that you're rejecting, then you won't be a full embodied individual, because you're constantly going to be trying to not be those parts of you that you're rejecting about yourself. And so shadow work and shadow integration is about recognizing that there's parts of yourself that have been split off and that you've been shaming, self-shaming, and re-inviting them back into yourself with compassion and love, and saying, I'm so sorry that I was neglecting you, and saying that you're not allowed here. You're totally allowed here. Sadness, messiness, anger, and allowing yourself to have a healthy relationship with those parts of yourself, because we all got all of the different ingredients of all the different attributes in us. That's just being human. And so it's about allowing ourselves and loving ourselves through those dark parts, or those characteristics or attributes that society generally says, no, you're not allowed here. When we
Mm.
repress those parts of ourselves, like people that have a lot of repressed anger, they will get volatile and they'll just blow up, because there's only so much pushing away. It's like when you have a rubber band, it's like you're pushing something away and it's giving it momentum and it's going to snap. And so shadow work is about having a healthy relationship with all the parts of ourselves so that we don't snap all the time, and so that we're like in a manageable place with all of the parts that are being human.
Wow, that's an amazing concept. Now I'm thinking of my shadows. What my shadows could be. Wow, wow, wow. That's beautiful.